for all children in government-controlled schools. We have been communized in that production in relation to consumption must be ruthlessly regulated, or the fraud upon the public perpetrated by bank credit will be reviewed. And this is in an American's bulletin. The state, in quote, owed securities on your body. Land, business, marriage, children, automobiles, etc. Communism, because state owes the title. State makes the laws. And the communist state keeps track of your benefits and duties through a system of accounting, not through service and love. Of the 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto, all 10 have been implemented. Women have been tricked into thinking they have the right to work, when in fact it has become a bloody necessity because the ever progressive income tax. Democracy is indispensable to socialism, V.I. Lenin. Socialism leads to communism, Karl Marx. Thus, the lower class is taken down and strictly feeds of the middle class slaves. The upper class benefits from its corporate profit from the same slave force. Corporations, creatures of the state, have replaced companies, private with no government control, and human resources departments have been replaced personnel departments in the workplace. The federal government has its hands in nearly 50% of the gross national product, the GNP. 25 years ago, or well over 25 years ago, it was 10%. And under the guise of a free market capitalist system, communism has arrived. When you have to be furloughed because of a lockdown measure to stay at home and only essential travels. Communism has arrived. It is a perfect absurdity to suppose that government would ever take our money without our consent under the guise of protecting us. It cannot reasonably be supposed that anyone will voluntarily pay money to the bureaucrats who masquerade as the government for the purpose of securing its protection, unless it first makes an explicit and purely voluntary contract with them for that purpose. And this is Lysander Spooner. When the USG or the CAG cries fool and foul about anything it chooses under the guise of national security, it is never for the sake of the nation or the people of the nation or the territory of the nation. It is for the sake of the security of the corporation, their own private club. Its members think only of protecting its own interests, not those of the landmass or its people. William Pitt in 1783 says, necessity is the plea for every infringement of human freedom. It is the argument of tyrants. It is the creed of slaves. So because of COVID-19, necessity of stay at home, of maintaining social distancing, of wearing face masks, of being furloughed, necessity is the plea for every infringement of human freedom. It is the argument of tyrants. It is the creed of slaves. And Nietzsche once said, everything the state says, or everything the state says is a lie. So if the state stays about COVID-19, it's a lie. Whatever they say about it, It was Nietzsche that says that. Now, I.F. Stone states, every government is run by liars and nothing they say should be believed. Freedom. The average man does not want to be free. He simply wants to be safe. This is H.L. Mencken. And Harry Moss says, what we do to make ourselves safe eventually creates the situation for our demise. And Ben Franklin says, one who trades freedom for security deserves neither. The nature of psychological compulsion is such that those who act under constraint remain under the impression that they are acting on their own initiative. The victim of mind manipulation does not know that he is a victim. To him, the walls of his prison are invisible, and he believes himself to be free. That he is not free is apparent only to other people. His servitude is strictly objective. And this is Aldous Huxley in his Brave New World Revisited in 1958. The problem with knowledge is that there is no going back. Like taking the red pill in the Matrix. Do I want to exchange my freedom for an easier life as a good slave? Our freedom will ultimately depend upon whether we contract away our rights or remain aware of the nature of benefits implying the existence of a contract, and by our failing to object to the presumption of a contract. Freedom is not the easiest road, yet we may be more satisfied with ourselves for having taken it. Our ability to choose is what constitutes our freedom. If we ever, and this is by B. Schaffer, if we were ever to live in harmony, politicians and bureaucrats will have to confine their lives to minding their own business and deriving what benefit they could from those who choose to cooperate with them. Life belongs to the living, not to the state or indeed any other non-existent abstraction. When we came to this world, we came to live life to the fullest, to be free, to walk the length and breadth of this earth without hindrance, to transact, to engage. And it's fair to say that if we were ever to live in harmony, politicians and bureaucrats will have to confine their lives to manage their own business. And Goethe says, there is no one so hopelessly enslaved as he who falsely believes he is free. W.S. Morgan says, if a nation values anything more than freedom, it will ultimately lose its freedom. And the irony of it is that if it is comfort or money that it values more, it will lose that too. And Volatile states, it is dangerous to be right when the government is wrong. William H. Burroughs. The marvel of all history is the patience with which men and women submit to burdens unnecessarily laid upon them by their government. It's a marvel how you have businesses on a lockdown. It's a marvel. How do you explain the bankruptcy that most small businesses are experiencing after the lockdown? It's a marvel of all history, the patience with which men and women submit the burdens unnecessarily, they submit to that unnecessary burden laid to them by the state, by the government. We must actively challenge the publicly accepted scope of government authority. And this is by an unknown person. Now, what does Thomas Jefferson have to say to this? Thomas Jefferson, the strongest reason for the people to retain the right